Hey guys, how we doing? John Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us on a special edition of Chair Shot Sports. Big shout out to Monday Night Raw that has just preceded us. Amazing matches from the men and the women qualifying in the King and Queen of the Ring. A lot of qualifying folks and deserving individuals moving forward in their brackets, but that is not why we are here right now. We are here in this moment in time because it has finally happened. Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, on this past Monday Night Raw, have acknowledged the QR codes, the interruptions, and the splices in the screens and our programming that has been from the White Six, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, whatever you want to call it. It's finally be acknowledged on TV. This tells me that we are very close to a debut being very imminent, whether it be on WWE Programming Weekly or, how I'm thinking, at the Saudi King and Queen of the Ring PLE next week. So with that being said, thank you so much again for joining us, John Anthony. Thank you again. I appreciate it. With everything that happened this past week, I had to do this show. I have a lot written down. I've been following this for weeks. I'm sure as a lot of other people have, following the breadcrumbs, following the clues, trying to decipher just exactly what is going on, who's in the group, what's going on, what is their purpose, how is this all going to play out. We're going to be doing a special episode in a couple days in regards to the episode that aired this past Friday on SmackDown. There's a QR code brought to you at WWE.com. It went through a lot of slides, said a lot of things, a lot of sayings. I went through, got with the team. We looked at the people who are supposedly supposed to be in the group, trying to find like where they work out, how those sayings work out, and how it points to certain people. We'll touch on one or two of those today. But mostly I want to focus on the QR code that came out on Monday Night Raw this past week. So again, like I said, acknowledged on TV, Michael Cole being like, oh, there's the weird thing again that's been on TV. Pat McAfee goes, yeah, I scanned on the QR code and it brought me some wacky stuff on WWE.com. So I don't know if that was a cry to everyone to, if you haven't been doing it, to scan the QR code. Because if that was, then I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably went back on Friday, scanned that code, and probably obviously scanned the code on Monday night. So, with that being said, let's talk about what happened this past Monday night. The QR code popped up. You go to it, you scan it, brought you to a page, and it said door. And you look down, there's a whole bunch of files. 20 JPGs, files, pictures, if you will, of multiple things. Most of them, if you go in order, were from notes from a journal telling you the same kind of thing. Folks were in a cave. I freed them. They had nowhere to go. I'm the savior. Yada, yada, yada. That was the cute stuff. That was the easy stuff. Okay. Then we get into the last couple slides. Right. Coming to the second to last slide shows a missing person. A missing persons ad in the paper. Now the name was Wendy Lucho. If I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. But it was Wendy Lucho. Now, that person was the actress of actually name of Rachel Bonetta. All right. She was the person, if you go all the way back, when The Fiend first debuted on WWE programming. That was the therapist that The Fiend / Bray Wyatt went to when there was a wrestling with your feelings, quote unquote, showed up in there, and she was there to listen to The Fiend. In that segment, obviously, lights went out. He shows up. He's in the chair. Hands up. Hurt heel. He's laughing. Music is playing loud. She's nowhere to be found. Again, drawing back. Long-term storytelling. Hella long storytelling. All the way back. So if you haven't been watching, if you weren't around for The Fiend, then I apologize. If you've just gotten on board like the past maybe year, unfortunately, when you weren't around for The Fiend when he first debuted, you might be a little out of the loop. A lot of this is drawing back to a lot of things back in the past. So if you're a long-term WWE guy, you're like, wow, I can't believe this is kind of where they're going with this and how far back they're drawing. So she's the person in the missing persons ad in the newspaper, which is the therapist that went missing when she talked to the Fiend. There also was a recording, I believe, 3 weeks back. Quote me if I'm wrong. There was a recording. If you followed the QR code, you went in. There was a recording of a therapist that was talking about someone that was not Bray. There's a therapist talking about somebody. It definitely wasn't Bray Wyatt. That is the person. That's the file talking about someone else, whether it's Bo Dallas or somebody else in the Wyatt Six. So again, long term, everything counts. If you're not watching the product, you're not going to keep up. These QR codes are literally meant to watch every single week, every single day, and to keep up with what's going on. I've been doing this a month and a half now. Every night, every time one of those QR codes pop up, it leads to something else that makes sense of the last one. The ones I think last week were of someone driving in a car, heading somewhere. Where are they going? Clearly, it's meant to they're going to arrive somewhere. They're heading out. They're out of wherever they need to be. A lot of these are talking about a cave. I released them. I showed them the way. So clearly, whoever the head of this is, which we would assume is Uncle Howdy, he has released or ushered in 5 other characters or superstars to come with him that have been either neglected, left in the dark, left for dead, with nothing creative for them, just sitting waiting. And we'll talk about that a little more as we go on. So I talked about the recording a little bit with the therapist. That was about, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was found on one of the QR codes. Dig a little deeper on the QR code that was showcased today. If you look in the URL, you'll look and you'll see 12, 12, 12. The number's 12, 12, 12. Now, if you go in, you Google that, you go in WWE history and you look, you'll see 12, 12, 12 was when Eric Rowan debuted with the Wyatt family back in 2012. And also, too, if you go and look, you read down from the dates, you kind of look at the words, you'll see Sinnerman. So Google Sinnerman. What does that get you? Sinnerman will bring you to an African-American folklore tale that tells of a lamb running from God. Now, lamb. When's the last person I can think of that could anywhere be distinguished as a lamb in WWE? Well, that's Eric Rowan as the lamb of the Wyatt family. No, it's not Braun Strowman. That was the black sheep, so don't get it twisted. That was not Braun Strowman. That is not him. Don't bring him into this. That just because I know he came back, that's a whole other thing. He has this thing with the Judgment Day. He's getting involved with a whole of other people. The lamb, the white masked face, that was Eric Rowan. It goes back to the 12-12-12 date of when he debuted with the Wyatt family. And I kind of want to run back a little bit. I want to talk about last Friday. We were talking about a little bit about as far as kind of leaving the breadcrumbs and talking about the tales and leaving clues. If you watched last Friday and you got into that QR code, you were brought to a WWE.com website. It started with the WWE signature with Triple H, and then it started to glitch and go out, and then it started bringing up a whole bunch of words. Whole bunch of other stuff, and sayings and things like that. There's a lot of them there. We'll talk about that in another episode in a couple days. But a couple that I want to pull out from that is, one of them is, left in a cave to rot. We were never one of the chosen ones. The chosen ones. Ring a bell? That's Drew McIntyre. I feel that that's a callback to Bo Dallas and Drew McIntyre in the outcasts. Never one of the chosen ones. Drew ascended, went to the main event. He's now opening Raw. He's in the main event. Bo Dallas, nowhere to be found. No one even thinks about him. One of the biggest ones, and I think like this is, if you're watching television and you have an idea of what's going on, you watch the product, you watch week after week, show after show. This one showed up and said, this is not a safe space. If you watch the product, you'll know safe space in creating one is from one character. That's from Schism, and that's from the now defunct Schism of Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy has been on a whirlwind of going everywhere he can be on NXT with his very, very clear promo of hearing that quiet voice in his head that was quiet for so long, but now is so loud and now so clear, and now knows how to follow it. This is not a safe space clearly points to Joe Gacy being one of the members of the new Wyatt Six. In my opinion, if I had to kind of have an idea of how this is going to play out, the reason why they're acknowledging this, obviously this past Monday, there's a very intentional QR code. A lot more pictures now. It's not a lot of us trying to guess things, finding QR codes and finding URL codes and trying to see what's in the images. This was literally pictures of somebody taking them from a journal. I think how this is going to end up is the Wyatt Six or somebody from that group is going to interfere and cost Drew McIntyre his shot against Damian Priest at Queen of the Ring. Again, speculation. Don't know if it's real or not. But I would have to say I think the PLE has to be a pinnacle or some kind of resolution to all of this. I feel like we're getting to a point now in the next 2-3 weeks. Obviously, I'm sure tomorrow night is a QR code. Friday night is a QR code. Next week is more QR codes. And now we're just leading up more and more and more and just showing more and more and giving out more information about who the members are, what's going on. Some of the pictures that are in the JPEGs have numbers in them. So you start doing your digging, you start finding other things. Queen of the Ring is going to be a little bit of a catalyst, whereas I feel like someone is going to interfere on whoever's behalf and cost Drew McIntyre his shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. The last JPEG out of the entire thing, of the whole QR code, was very, very interesting. So it showed a floppy disk, showed a flash drive on a table. That floppy disk had a date on it. That date was 5/16/24, which is this upcoming Thursday. It gave a very specific time of 4 p.m. And also, too, you saw the word witch. And if you look all the way to the other side of that floppy, you see a T. Oh, I'm sorry, a plus sign. But it's a T. For those of you that aren't really that aware of it, that's an anagram. You take the T, you move. So what do you have? You have over here, you have witch. You take the T, move it all the way over. What's that make? Twitch. So if I was one to assume that on Thursday at 4 p.m. on Twitch, somebody's Twitch, I mean, there's not a whole hell of a lot of people that have Twitches. So it's not hard to deduce who's going to have it. It could be WWE. Maybe it's a break-in on Up, Up, Down, Down. Maybe there's a superstar that has Twitch and it breaks in on there. I don't know. But that is definitely the one biggest piece that I think has been given to all of us or anybody thus far. We have a date, we have a time, and we know where to look. So it's going to be very, very interesting. We're going to be having an episode in a couple days talking about King of the Ring, Raw, NXT, going to SmackDown this upcoming week. Please follow us if you're not already. Last time I checked, there's 94% of you that don't subscribe to us that watch these videos at Chairshot Sports on YouTube. Please shoot us a like, Give us a subscribe. Facebook and Instagram as well at ChairShot Sports. Guys, it's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. We'll talk to you guys soon.